Hi Year 8, welcome back to Lesson 4 of our Weather and Climate unit. Today we are continuing with looking at the different climatic conditions across the UK. So last lesson we looked at the different areas that get the most rain and that are the warmest and the coldest and the reasons for that. So today we are continuing with that and looking at more factors. So this lesson is due in on the 2nd of July, and here are some information that you need to recap. So write these down if you haven't done it already, and these are the words we need to recap for this lesson. Tropical maritime. So this is when wind from the southwest brings wet weather, with warm temperatures in the summer but mild winters. Tropical continental, this is wind from the southeast and it brings dry weather with hot temperatures in the summer but mild in the winter. Polar continental, now this is wind from the northeast and it brings dry weather with cold temperatures in the summer and often freezing conditions in the winter. And then finally, polar maritime, this is wind from the northwest and it brings wet weather with cold temperatures. Right, so we're going to get straight into it and look at another figure and try and explain the data that we can see. So here, figure 2 is a map to show the average days of snow that are laying across the UK. All right, so this is taken on average between 1981 and 2010. So which areas of the UK have had the most snow laying on it over that period of time? So here we go, let's have a look. I want you now to describe the distribution of the average days of snow lying across the UK. So first of all, you've got to tell me, is there a pattern? Is it even? Is it uneven? What areas have the highest number of days? Can you give me some figures to support that? And you get the figures here from the key. And can you give me an area of low number of days? Use the key as well. So give yourself about 5 minutes to do this. Off you go. Okay, so get your green pens out and let's do some corrections or give yourself a tick. So the general pattern is that it's not evenly distributed. The average days of snow lying is not evenly distributed across the UK. The area with the high number of days is in the north. As you can see up here, the north of Scotland is the bluest, therefore it has snow laying across it the longest. For example, in many areas of Scotland, there are around 60 days or more. So you've used the data from the darkest blue there on the key. Area with the lowest number of days is in the southeast. Okay, southeast down here, and you could have put also the southwest. Okay, so this is just to recap what we did last lesson. If you remember, different parts of the UK experience different climates, and this is all to do with the air masses that come towards our country. Again, just to recap what we did last lesson, if you remember, Oban up in the northwest experiences high amounts of rain and colder temperatures, whereas down in Cambridge in the southeast it has a lower amount of rain and warmer temperatures. And this is all due to the types of air masses that come in towards that area. So Oban has polar maritime air masses that come in, and that means it brings in colder, wet weather, whereas Cambridge has tropical continental, and this means it brings in warmer and drier weather. What I want you to do here is have a look at these two stakeholders. We've got a cyclist here with the glasses, and we've got this fisher person here with the long hair, a lady with the long hair. A fisher person is just another person that goes fishing. So, with the data that we used last lesson, and up here in the climate graphs, and our knowledge of where these places are, you can see here that the stakeholders above are looking to move to the UK. They have some preferences regarding the climate they are after. You must suggest which place would be best for them to settle in based on your work so far. So you've got to read the cyclist's opinion, and you've got to read the fisher person's. Then, based on what they want, where would they most be suited to live? Oban or Cambridge? Let's have a look at the cyclist first. He says, I am looking to move to a place in the UK where the climate is good for cycling. Therefore, I do not want wind or rain. I prefer warm summers and cold winters. So you've got to think about what he said there and look at these climate graphs. Which one would he prefer? Now, the things he said there was he doesn't like wind or rain, and he wants warm summers and cold winters. So you've got to have a look at these graphs and decide which graph suits his preferences. When you've done that, have a look at the fisher person. Right, this is what you have to do now. So, you have to write about the data. You need to decide on a location for each person. So where would the cyclist prefer to live, and where would the fisher person prefer to live? You've got success criteria here. It says you need to decide on a location, whether Oban or Cambridge. You use each graph to support your decision. So you need to give data from the graphs to help explain your decision. And that's also there for number 3. You've got to use pieces of information. There's a challenge, and it says you explain the reason for the climatic conditions in each area. So why is Oban like it is? And why is Cambridge like it is? Okay, so before you get started, let's have a look at this example. Does this explanation meet the success criteria? Let's have a read. The cyclist should locate in Cambridge. This is because the climate is great for cycling. The total rainfall is low at just 530 millimetres all year. The climate in the summer is nice and warm. For example, July, it is 17 degrees. The fisher person should locate in Oban. This is because there is plenty of rainfall, with 1,410 millimetres on average in a year. This is because the area is affected by polar maritime air, which picks up moisture as it blows over the ocean. It is then forced to rise by the steep ground in the area, which means it cools and condenses, creating relief rainfall. That's fantastic. So let's have a look. In the first paragraph, they've made a decision. They've used data from the graph, and they've given some PLC. Second paragraph, they've made a decision, they've used the graph, they've used PLC, and they've given a very detailed explanation, which is fantastic. So overall, a decision was made for both. The graph is used to support both decisions. PLC criteria is not met. Only 3 pieces of data is used, where it says here a minimum of 4. There is a good explanation about the climate in Oman, but no explanation for Cambridge. So overall, this does not meet the success criteria, which is a shame because this paragraph is fantastic. So really pay attention to what you are writing and make sure that for each person you are following the 4 success criteria. Here you go then guys, give it a go and I'll see you next time.